Greetings, James Goy Jr. here, and we are at session 8 now, continuing on in these informal little talks on the various subjects of the 20 chapters of my book, How to Attract Money Using Mind Power, and we are already at the point to discuss the subject of chapter 9, which is Act As If. The act as if technique is, basically, that you want to learn to act as if those things you want to be true about your finances either are now or will be true. Sounds easy enough in theory maybe, but this is actually a hard technique for many people because it requires immense faith in many instances. And faith and belief are a real stumbling block when it comes to applying mind power. For the average person anyway, and for the beginning student of mind power. I open each chapter with a quote. Here's a quote by, in this chapter, by a fellow by the name of Henry Harrison Brown, who wrote a book which was published in 1901. The title of that book, How to Control Fate Through Suggestion. And in that book he wrote, "Live as if it were already manifest, and you shall find it manifest." As if. Those are the key words. U.S. Anderson, in his The Magic in Your Mind from 1961, he wrote, "Act as if your desires were already manifested." What these writers understand is that the subconscious mind is profoundly affected by action. You can be trying to apply the mind power techniques that you're learning, or perhaps that you already know. You can be, we just recently talked about speaking as if and thinking and feeling as if, which, actually come under the act as if umbrella also. Affirmations and visualization, the next two sessions coming up, you can be affirming and visualizing and thinking as if, writing things down, goals, another session we'll be getting to, making certain plans, another session, another chapter in the book that is still to come. But if you're not acting as if you believe the things that you're trying to create will come around, then you're not fooling anyone or anything. You're not fooling your subconscious mind, and you're not fooling the universe. If you don't act as if you believe, then quite simply and quite obviously you don't believe. The technique, act as if. Remember it. You want to act as if those things that you want to come about or to be true about your financial circumstances, you want to act as if those things either are now or will be true. If you got a job and you're making twice as much money as you were making on your last job, and you've been at the job a couple of weeks now and everything is going fine, the boss loves you and you love your job, you believe that you are now making twice as much money, and you become more free with your money in most cases. You spend more, you feel like you can have some fun. You can make, you can purchase things that make you happy, or do things that bring joy into your life, because you are acting as if you will have that same amount of paycheck next week and the week after and the week after. You are acting as if you believe that this financial income, that these financial resources will continue to flow to you. That's the kind of faith that you need to have when you don't really know where your money's coming from. When you are as we are teaching you to do here, as I teach you in my book, you're learning to apply time-honored, time-tested, mind power / metaphysical / spiritual principles for monetary gain. You're learning how to use mind power to attract money. And the act as if technique, you could look at it as a line in the sand. Because until you cross that line, you don't really believe. Belief, chapter 2, remember? Expectancy, chapter 3, remember? You don't really believe. You don't really expect. If you are not free to act as if those things, those financial circumstances you're trying to bring about, as if they either will be true or that they're true now. If you're not acting as if, then you are basically stating to your subconscious mind and to the universe that you don't believe. If you want to make a purchase, but you don't because you're afraid you'll need that money in the future for something else, or that at some, time in the future you may not have enough money or whatever, then you're not acting as if. You're showing that you really don't believe. Now, that doesn't mean that you spend money carelessly. And that doesn't mean that if economic conditions, the economy in general, slow down or, times tighten up or whatever, that you don't adjust your spending. You do. But you do it not in a fearful way and not in an extreme way. Because, mind power principles do not change just because the economy changes. So you either believe or you don't. And that line in the sand where when you cross it, you actually start to act as if you believe what it is that you're professing you're trying to bring about. Until you do that, then you're just playing games in a sense. You may be learning principles and techniques. You may be applying techniques. Some of the ones we've already discussed. But until you actually begin to act as if, you tread in water. You'll see some results, but you're basically treading water. When you act as if concerning your finances, you do not allow fear to keep you from spending money in reasonable, rational ways. You do not let fear of not having enough in the future keep you from spending or giving money in rational, logical, intelligent ways now. The very nature of fear is that there has to be a thought behind it. And that thought is something you don't want. And so you are in the process of creating what you don't want when you're not acting as if. You could almost look at it as though you are acting as if. You're acting as if those financial circumstances you want to bring about won't happen. And therefore that's what you're creating. So this is the line in the sand, the act as if technique. I don't expect you to, do a head dive over that line, but I would like to see you start to move in that direction. Start acting as if you really believe. Because until you do, then you don't believe. And if you don't believe, it ain't going to happen. So, what can I say? Act as if. When you start doing that, then you're really getting with the program. Will you try it? I like to think you will.